Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. You're tuned in to Wild Podcast. By all means, go to wildpodcast.me. That's WOWPODCAST.me. Now, today we have a special guest, and I know I say it all the time, but he's actually a good friend of mine. I've known him since I was 16 years old, and we had our first job together working at the dog track. But today, he's changed a lot of things. He's an editor, actor, and director. He's been in commercials such as Publix, Home Depot. He's been on TV series such as Burn Notice, MacGyver, and Bloodline, just to name a few. But he's coming out with a new screenplay called The Driven. Please welcome Alex Leaty.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
So, tell me about what made you want to come out with your screenplay, The Driven.
Well, what happened was, everything starts off with with an idea, right? So, I happened to be watching Whiplash. There's a movie called Whiplash. It's about a drummer and his crazy ass professor that he has, right? So I just thought, what if it was an actor? If it was an actor that was going through that, and the director was the one that being crazy and throwing stuff at him, So I started with that, and then what happened was, so that's why figured, what? I wanted to add some more to the story, so I started putting myself into it. I started adding myself into the story. So basically, the movie is loosely based on my life, loosely. So a lot of the stuff that are comical really happened in real life to me. All the other stuff is fictional. So I basically use my own, So
you had always been interested in acting since your teenage years?
No, since I was 6. I was 6. What happened was, as a kid, it's something I always wanted to do, but I was always timid to do it. And of course, I never wanted to tell my parents or friends because they're going to tell me, oh, you want to be an actor? They're going to laugh at you. You know what I mean? So they were very negative about it. So I just tell people, I'm going to be a vet, which I wanted to become a vet. Until when I finally got into high school, and it was my teacher, Mr. McGinnis. We did a role play, and I had to play a female. And this girl had to play my boyfriend, right? So I had to pretend I was the abused girl, so I came in and I was crying and stuff like that, talking to my friends, crying. And so towards the end of the whole skit, my teacher asked me, McGinnis asked me, do I act? And I'm like, no. He's like, you should. You should. It's my senior year. He's like, you're good, you should. I'm like, all right, so I thought, when I get to college, I'll go ahead and, start taking classes. And so, yes, that's how I got started. And I started, but still, I didn't think of acting as promising. So I was still trying to pursue the whole vet thing until later on, I realized it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I started taking chemistry and all that stuff. It's like, it's not for me. But I still, so I started taking acting classes outside the studios outside. So I went to this place called, it's not there anymore. It's called Nicole's Dance Studio. And it was my first acting class. And, that's where I learned the basics, of all of acting. And I still use it till today. Everything, whatever, they call me, Mr. Vern Gorham, the guy that was teaching the class. Whatever he taught was pretty much, I used that in all in every, till today, cause you have to do, character breakdowns. Whenever you get a script, I look at, what my character is like, who is he? Where's he from? Is he religious? What religion is he? Things like that, so I can develop the character, So.
What's your biggest takeaway from doing auditions?
Well, for me, it's funny because when I get a script, it's basically my agent. My agent will look at the breakdown and send it to me, and I'll look at it. Sometimes it's breakdowns, I'm like, it's not even for me. You know what I mean? It's like this guy, they're looking for 45 to 60. I'm like, oh, I can't pass this, right? You know what I mean? I can't pass no 45 to 60. So, but I do it anyways. You know what I mean? And I try to get into the role and I audition anyways. But it's not because at this point I can't even pick what I want. I can't even say, oh yeah, I want this role. I mean, sometimes they send me, an agent will send me a list of characters, and they'll say, okay, pick the one you like. And I'm looking through them, and it's very limited. Sometimes they'll go, okay, security guard or top. You know what I mean? But it's nothing where I can sink my teeth into, to where it's more of a background to the character. You know what I'm saying? It's just very like a co-star role. The guy maybe has 3 or 4 lines, and that's it. So that's what I'm mostly auditioning for is for co-star roles. The guy that has 3 or 4 lines. I'm trying to get to that guest star, trying to get there. But I still need to build my co-star, a bit more.
What's your main goal since you're into the entertainment industry? Like, what is it, or where is it you want to be at a certain, like, I don't know, maybe within 5 years from now, where is it that you want to be in the entertainment industry?
That's a good question. It's funny because years ago, when I wanted to get into in this industry, I just wanted to be a working actor, and that's it. I wasn't doing it to become famous. And all my mom and all my friends and family, yeah, you want to be famous. Like, no, it's not. That's not really what I want to be. Cause I want to have a life. I don't want someone, bother me while I'm, using the bathroom. Someone come up to me, hey, can I get your autograph? And I'm here trying to take a piss. That's fine. You know what I mean? So, that's not the life I wanted. And it wasn't until later on, a friend of mine told me that we have to change our mentality. We have to change that. Because the only way we have to, she came to California. She went out to California to figure things out and stuff. So she came back and she told me that we have to change our way of thinking as actors. Yes, we want to be just working, but you can't just be just working. Agents don't want that. Agents want you to be famous. So I'm like, okay, so I have to change that. I can't just think of, and plus I'm limiting myself, right? So if I just think I can want to be a working actor, it's just going to take me so far. But if I try to become famous, if I become a celebrity, now I'm able to have more roles, have more opportunity. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much my goal, hopefully, just to get my name out and just trying to see, because and my end goal is too, is to help people along the way that help me along. You know what I mean? The people that have been there with me along the way, I want to be able to help them too. So that's hopefully I can get to that point where I can support my family and I'm supporting my family now, but get to that point where I don't have to worry about anything, and my friends that are trying to make it themselves, I can help them too. You know what I mean? Because we're all in this together. Everyone, every single, like I wouldn't be here right now with half the people I've met, along the way. And it's all about that. It's all about the people you meet along the way in this field, and in your circle. You have a circle. So, yeah.
There's a lot of people who listen to this podcast, and most of them are writers. And a big question that they have is that, like, how do they turn a book into a movie, or how do they write a screenplay, or how do they, get into that position where their book or whatever their ideal is, takes off and hits the silver screen. So I had wanted to reach out to you and say, well, let me get him on the show and find out, like, what kind of information can I get from him to let everybody else know? Because these are conversations that I'm privy to, but I don't have the 100% experience because I haven't put out, a film or whatever. So what do you say to that for people who are trying to get that going?
Well, for people that write a book, let's say you have a novel you wrote and you want to make it into a movie, it's a different process, right? So they wouldn't use your entire book to write the screenplay. Of course, you hire a screenplay writer to write it for you. They would just grab what the plot would be, what the main plot of your novel is, and then write the screenplay based off of that, and then grab bits and pieces from your novel, that will move the story forward. Now you can't, because you can't do, when you read a novel, it'll tell you how the character's feeling. Like he'll walk into the room and he'll say, let's say, the guy messed up. He's about to walk in to talk to his boss, and the novel will break it down where he's sweaty, his hands are sweaty. He walks in, and then and he's thinking, should he leave? Should he stay? Should he just run for it? You know what I mean? So you can't do that in the screenplay. You can't write that in a screenplay. The actor has to pull that off. And you don't want to, and when you run the screenplay, you don't want to direct either. You don't want to say, okay, he's doing this, that's the director's job. You just want to write the story, and let the story, and you also don't want to, like the mistake I did when I first started writing in the beginning, I would write down how the camera angles would be and all that. That's a shooting script. As a screenwriter, I shouldn't be doing that. That's mainly for the director. The director will write down, if he wants a low angle here or a high angle there. That's not the writer's job. The writer's job is just tell the story. And then,
For the people who want to know more about you, I want you to give them your social media, let them know where they can find your movie, and just let them know how they can reach out to you if they're, if they just have some questions, because a lot of people who do listen to this podcast, they do reach out to me and and basically asked me for permission, like, hey, can I, reach out to so-and-so? I heard them on your podcast. So what would you say to those people for you?
Sure. My Facebook page is Alex Leaty, or Leaty, Leaty, and you can find me on Facebook. I also have a fan page. I go by Alexander Leaty on that one. And yeah, just reach out and any questions. I'm willing to help you out. No problem. One thing I want to say though, for people who want to write screenplays, the best advice I can give you is make sure you have your story written out. Like the worst advice I ever gotten from a screenplay writer years ago when I wanted to start writing my own story was they told me just write. Doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. Just write. And it sounds great and all. And it's like someone telling me just drive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It sounds romantic and everything, but after an hour, you're going to be like, okay, where am I going? Right? So
Right.
that's where the story comes in, because when you have your story, you write your story it's a treatment, which is, you write that out. Now you know where you're going. Now you know where the story's going. And always write the synopsis. Now the synopsis is for you. It's not for you to sell to anybody or to pitch to anybody. It's basically for you. The synopsis basically talks about the plot of the story. It's like 3 or 4 lines. It just tells you what the story's about, and that way it helps you as a writer to write the story out. Now, once you write the story out, now you have a story to help you write the screenplay.
Right.
So that's how that's what happened to me. I wrote the screenplay a while back, Torment. That's my next project after The Driven. A screenplay writer told me, he definitely told me just write. So I'm writing the story, but there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like, this is not making sense. And again, because I was given that, that bad advice of just write. When I wrote The Driven, I already had a story written out. So all I had to do was just plug it in. And plus I was just, of course I took different pieces from my life and I try to figure out where I could fit it in the story as well. So,
Gotcha.
So it was a bit easier for me to write The Driven because it was loosely based on my life anyways. So it was a bit easier. Torment's different to that one. Not to like. Oh, and then the other advice I would give is, like when I'm doing Torment, is watch movies similar to your in the same genre as your screenplay or movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That way you get ideas to write.
Got you. Well, I want to thank you for your time, man, and thank you for coming on to the podcast. I know you're extremely busy, and I know you want to get to enjoying your Saturday. So I want to say thank everybody for listening to this podcast. We're speaking to Alex Leaty. He's one of my closest friends. We go way back. We're currently up in our 30s. I met Alex when I was 16 years old, and we worked at the dog track, and look at our lives now. We're writing books and making screenplays.
Yeah, man. Happy for you, man. Definitely keep doing your thing. But yeah, anyone want to reach out to me to be, it's great, man. Come and reach out to me. I'm willing to help you out.
For sure, man. Hey, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you, Alex.
See you, man. Take care.
Yep.